Well, good morning. It's the 1st of November, and it's Ken Sabatier and Randy Wolgemuth here doing our introductory podcast recording to do with regenerative agriculture. Randy and I have recently started up a collaboration called Sunrize Regenerative Ag Systems with the view to helping businesses, helping farmers, helping anyone that's interested in trying to understand what regenerative agriculture is, whether there's a value to it, and trying to dispel myths and bring facts through different interviews and different conversations over the coming months. But it's both Randy and I come from quite different backgrounds. We had established a friendship outside of agriculture a number of years ago, and we really didn't know too much about what each other did. But I've been working in the regenerative, organic, and conventional agriculture business, agri-food business for about the last 16 years. But the young biological company that I was working with, we'd actually wanted to tap into Randy's business experience. And I thought maybe if Randy could just explain his agriculture journey from the 70s to now.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Yeah, I grew up in an ag family. My father was the founder of Landmark Feeds. And in the 70s, I took over the fertilizer, chemical, and seed business and ran that for 27 years. And then I sold and actually exited agriculture for a number of years. And now I find myself back in again, doing, consulting business with many different companies. And so that's kind of where Ken and I, we worked together on some work I did with Overton, and I really got introduced to the whole regenerative ag business, which of course is kind of opposite of what I used to do, but I find it very, very interesting, and we'll get into more of that just here a little bit. But Ken, maybe just maybe a little more just why we're doing it and your thoughts on that.
Well, what got me into agriculture is actually it's a passion for food. I grew up in rural Alberta and I had a 24-year career in the military, but I always wanted to get involved in something that had to do with farming or food when I got out, and I had an opportunity to get into the agriculture business through Patterson Global Foods, Patterson Grain, and that was my introduction into the global food business and grain business. And in the course of my employment there, I was managing their organics grain division, which gave me an opportunity to visit and see farms across the Canadian prairies and globally. The company there, we had to source organic crops from around the world, and usually to make sure that their standards were up to snuff, I spent a lot of my time seeing different farm systems in India, China, Argentina, and then of course Canada and the US. And in the process of that, it fascinated me. There was a certain tier of organic growers that you'd go visit their fields, and they're growing their crops in the midst of conventional fields, and you couldn't tell the difference between their fields and the conventionals guys. And it cued me. There's something, these guys know something about agriculture that is worthwhile understanding in conventional agriculture. There's a bridge there. These guys are growing similar bushel crops. They they don't have weed-filled fields. That's not the case for a lot of organic farmers, but the top tier guys. And it opened my eyes up to just understanding there are lessons, and when a farm focuses on the soil, they can get more from their fields than just having to slap a whole bunch of fertilizer and sides down. That you can be a very successful farm business without the chemical recipe. And that drew me into Overton Environmental, which is a ecological, biological company where I've been working for the last 6 years, and having an opportunity to really help drive their research in terms of learning how biology works into a farm system. And in that as well, it brought me further into the conventional world in seeing farms across the prairies who have been adopting different practices that they're labeled regenerative, but it's just what it is a system, a farm plan that pays attention to biology. And I think that's every farm should have a chemical, a physical, and a biological plan. And both the chemistry, what I've learned, and I'm fully convinced now, is biology pivots and drives chemistry and those physical aspects. Other people can get more into that maybe than I can, but that's what drove my passion. Is there's practices when a farmer pays attention to their soil, and soil is really it's a whole ecosystem of microbes and living things, and those things are actually what enable plants to be healthy, grow an innumerable amount of things, that's what drove my passion to get into here. And I guess the question is okay, when you pair the two of us up, how do we? We've got a collection of knowledge, both from regenerative and organic type farming, and then conventional inputs business. I think when we pair our knowledge up, Randy, there's an opportunity for us to help shed some light, and maybe you can expand on that.
Yes. I come from the conventional side of the business. And, with my background, and then really what I've been doing the last, I've always had businesses since I was 16 years old. But my primary work, like I mentioned before, is I'm a John Maxwell leadership coach and a 10X business coach to Brandon Dawson and Grant Cardone. So that's kind of the background and the experience that I bring to the table. And when I work with clients, I always want to know that the client is legitimate and that there's actually a potential for them to make a profit. And when I started researching this regen thing and the biologicals, I realized that this stuff works, and we dabbled in it sort of towards the end when I was back in the late 90s and early 2000s. There was biologicals out already then, and we dabbled with it a little bit, and we did see results, but never enough market for us to actually make a living at that point in time. But anyway, so I've seen a bunch of research. I'm not an agronomist, but I do know the basics of it, and but seeing the research, it really showed me this stuff can make money, and it's good for the environment and good for the soil and so on. But it's the possibility of making money, both from a dealership standpoint and from a grower standpoint. And at the end of the day, the grower needs to make money, otherwise the whole system breaks down. So where I come from is primarily help my clients get organized, grow their business, and then make sure that they're profitable. And I really believe that the regen business has that potential to be. Well, there are regen dealers that are profitable right now. And but yeah, I'm very fascinated. And then the other thing is, right now grain prices are low, and I remember when wheat was $2 a bushel, and canola was like $4, and it was pretty hard to make money. And that's like 25, 30 years ago. So we know what prices are now. It's pretty tough to make money. But where can we reduce costs, and where can we increase yields? And it's always those two that actually you need to work together to make sure that you can farm the following year again. So I think it's a very, I wouldn't say, I was going to say it's a cool concept. It's different. And, back when I was a kid, my dad started selling fertilizer, Elephant brand fertilizer, and we would do research, and we'd put fertilizer on 20 acres and 20 acres no fertilizer, and that was the research, and it was always greener with fertilizer and more yield, right? So it's pretty basic stuff, but I literally remember when we started using fertilizer. I mean, I was pretty young, but it was pretty interesting, and here we are, 40 years later, and doing the same thing, just with different products. And of course, the land has seen a lot of chemical fertilizer over the years, and it's been very good. We at the end of the day, in agriculture, both animal and crops, I mean, we feed the world, and it's a very important industry for humans. So I think, I'm really excited about what this can do, and what the future can bring.
Well, in terms of business as well, too, you've been a successful businessman for past 50 years, and you've seen, I know you've had an opportunity to visit farms as well as scope out the business opportunity, and where do you feel the opportunities are for both farmers, grain producers, and as well the businesses that service them? Because if these regen guys can't get serviced effectively, that's an issue. But where do you see the opportunity?
Well, when I was in business with crop inputs, we worked towards, in the beginning we were order takers just like everyone else, and that was fine, it worked, but we needed to differentiate. And so we ended up hiring people that could be agronomists or were agronomists. Often we trained them, or we hired university graduates, but we would have, and we had 6 locations for a while there, and then we'd always have an agronomist on staff. And the way we approached it is what does the farmer need to grow up a profitable crop? Be it fertilizer, be it chemical, be it seed, whatever it is, right? So the agronomist's job was to make recommendations that would be best for the farmer, and that really worked. And it, in a sense, they worked for my company, but they were independent in the sense that their job was to go, and when the crop was coming up, they would go and check the crop and see how it's doing. And okay, you need to use whatever to kill the weeds, or you need some foliar or fungicide, whatever it was, right? And I found that when we could have a good relationship with the farmer via good agronomic advice, we built a relationship there where they trusted them, and then we made our money selling product, and so if they needed product that we had, well, then we would sell it to them. So I think, and when I don't profess to be a specialist in regen ag, I would defer to Ken and some other people, but what I see so far is there aren't very many regen agronomists out there, and I think there's an opportunity for that type of business, and it's a learning curve. It's no different than when I was a kid, and my dad wanted to sell fertilizer. You had to show them why do you want to use fertilizer? Well, you'll spend whatever it is, $10 an acre, and you're going to make 20 more, and that hasn't changed. So why should I put on, a biological, or why should I use low salt fertilizer, or whatever it is, right? But having those people giving that advice, building that relationship, I think it's a powerful tool. And relationships, it doesn't have to be relationships are important in all businesses. And I think the opportunity from what I see is the agronomy business advice that these dealers can provide, I think would be a very big opportunity to grow their business.
No, and that's been, that's an element of what we're trying to do is there are a few on the prairies. It isn't a lot because they don't teach it in university ag school. Biology is not a large component of what you learn right now to be an agronomist. But there are ones out there that are backed by research, and I think like a lot of the research that I've personally had my hand in, there's different ways to get biology going in your soils. The challenge is that where we've shifted, fungicides, heavy tillage, chemicals, they all influence negatively, and high salt fertilizers, all negatively influence soil microbes, and soil is you really don't get anything out of your soil unless it's the microbes that get things. It's not the latent mineral. I know Graham Sate out of Australia has a phrase that behind every mineral is a microbe. And it's those microbes that actually make minerals available to the plants. And there's an ecological interaction between the plant and the microbes. And these are things that we'd like to get into over these subsequent podcasts is, first of all, investigating what can you do to do that, to build that soil health microbiome. Is it operationally practical, or how do you make it operationally practical? How do you do it without losing money? And ultimately, explaining that how and if you do these things, does it affect your farm bottom line in subsequent years? And that's what gets me excited, is that there's partners that we work with that have already been on this path for 10 years. It's not mining the soil, which is often the accusation that gets thrown at you by conventionally minded agronomists. You can maintain your yields with 50% less inputs than you would have 5 years later. But there is a path, and every soil is different. Every farm is different. It all depends on crops that you're growing and so many different variables. And what we're hoping to do is use our talents and our network to be able to bring those lessons to people that listen to this podcast, both to farmers and then as well to inform professionals that are involved in the ag sector. We have 2 agronomists associated with our group right now, Kevin Elmy, and his expertise is cover crops and basically how to use a living root to build your soil, because that is the plants are actually what encourage a soil ecology through different exudates that they put out through their roots. And then Braden Niles, who's been an organic farmer himself for 20 years, but as well he's a CCA and an articling PAG, and leads the research for EcoT, and how biology remediates land and improves the farm bottom line. I don't know, do you have anything else that you'd like to add in there?
No, I think that covers it off pretty good. I think so. Agronomy is a big part of what we provide. The other side of it is, of course, what I mentioned, what I do, the business advisory side, and then also sales and marketing. We have a partnership with Solosphere, and we can provide some what I call modern techniques for marketing, and through my 10X background, end of the day, do you want to grow your business 10 times, which seems kind of ridiculous at some point in time, but somewhere you need to start, and this isn't a sales podcast, but we do have services that we think can help the people that are wanting to be in this business. So yeah, I'm looking forward to providing more podcasts on Regen Ag.
Well, that's the introduction of our podcast, that it's our aspiration these become a series. We hope to have guests that come in and will help inform you as a farmer, you as a prospective regenerative business owner, and just service the sector through facts and dispelling myths. And we'll see where this journey takes us.
See you later.